Okay, Matt. So let's talk a little bit about your setup.
Yeah. Cool. Well, it's funny because I've kind of gone through phases of where I've been at as far as like setup. For instance, let me go back a little bit. As a kid, I just wanted everything. I wanted like remember the Octoplus drum set? It was like, I had like 8 toms because I'd seen Carl Palmer play. Do you remember Emerson Lake and Palmer?
Yes.
And he had like all these toms and gongs and like 50 cymbals, and I'm like, as a kid, I'm like, oh, that's awesome. I would save my money and I'd buy a cymbal or I'd buy a tom-tom or something to add to my kit. And then as I got into playing clubs and stuff, I realized, oh my God, that's a lot of stuff to carry around. And, I only had a Volkswagen, so it's like I started downsizing and I went more to like my Bonham setup, which I ended up playing for years and years and years, which is just like a 24-inch kick drum, 13-inch rack, mounted over the kick, very jazz style, traditional. Big ride, like a 22 ping ride, and then 16 and 18-inch floor tom, snare, hat, couple of crashes, maybe a big one in back. I used to like to hit the big one, 20, like as an ending kind of thing. Then I had like a Pang or a China, kind of above the 2 floor toms. And that became sort of my basic setup all the way from the Cult, all the way through Guns N' Roses, up through Velvet Revolver. And then recently, I've kind of gone mad, and I'm like, I want to play double bass, and I want to have a lot of tom-toms, and I want it to be something different. And it's really cool as a drummer because, as you know, it makes you play different. Every setup you play on, if it's smaller drums or bigger drums, traditionally bigger drums you play a lot weightier and like, a lot more meat and potatoes, I'd call it.
Yeah.
You get on a little kit, maybe a 20-inch kick, some small tom. You're like, you're doing a little bit more.
A little more funky stuff.
Yeah, funky, jazzy kind of, but you can get more licks off too. It's a quicker thing. You can get a lot faster. But this particular band, Kings of Chaos, that I'm doing is a big rock show. I've got, for instance, the last tour we did was Glenn Hughes from Deep Purple, Duff McKagan, Slash, Miles Kennedy from Alter Bridge, Corey Taylor came from Slipknot and Stone Sour, and I had Joe Elliott and Steve Stevens on guitar. So I had this really diverse palette of music to play. And I was a huge Deep Purple fan as a kid. And to play with Glenn from Deep Purple was like my dream. To play songs like Burn, and I did Highway Star with him, which is a ripper. Like Ian Pace, bar none, is one of the most underrated drummers from rock, in my opinion. He just had a lot of chops and he ripped. So I'm like, oh cool, I can rip, Because a lot of times, as you know, as a drummer, you're not allowed to rip.
Right.
You gotta kind of lay it down. Play the song. But, so this was older style music where I could really mix it up and do a lot of extra fills. So I thought, it'd be really cool to have a huge kit. So what I got going now is 2 20-inch kick drums, 22-inch kick drums, by 18, a little deeper. So they're still fat. You throw a big note out through the PA, they sound incredible.
Yeah. My
Gretsch drums. And then I start with a 12-inch rack, traditional sizes, so I can get them a little bit lower. So it's 12 by 8, 8 by 12, 13 by 9, 14 by 10, 16 by 16, 18 by 16. So I can get the toms kind of low so you can still see me, because stuff was like, I can't see you back there, man. It's like, I'm hidden by all the stuff. You want people to know who you are. You want, oh yeah, you're the drummer. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So I got a couple crashes up above on my Gibraltar boom stands coming in real nice like that. And then crashes further back. So I've got 4 crashes. A big 20 back here. Usually 19 over here, 18, 19. I bring my ride in real cool, kind of like above the toms on the end of those 3 rack toms. And I got to stick a cowbell in there because cowbell, we got those Guns N' Roses songs. A lot of cowbell. And I got a cool bracket, Gibraltar bracket that brings it in real nice. And I kind of can bring it in on a little extension Gibraltar boom arm. Comes in. And then I sit a pang up above China, up above the 2 floors like I've always had it. So that's pretty much my setup right now. I might add some more stuff. And then because I've got the Def Leppard stuff, I'm doing a little bit of triggering. Because you know that Def Leppard's very electronic.
Oh yeah.
So I'm using the Yamaha system to do the triggering, the DTX, which sounds cool because I can drop the samples, the original samples in from the album. So I sound just like Rick Allen, kind of, you know. I don't know. It's like, I got one pad for
Oh, nice.
you know, just little shit, nothing over the top, but it sounds more closer to the originals. And so yeah, it's been a blast playing the big kit, you know, because I can get a lot more stuff going on down the line. And it's funny, you know. Back in the day, before I joined the cult, I think some people have probably heard this story, but years ago I auditioned for David Lee Roth's band. And when him and Billy Sheehan and Steve Vai were in the band, so that was the first David Lee Roth album after Van Halen, I played single kick drum. And I went into the audition, and I was there with Greg Bissonette, and he tells this story too. And we were all in line at SR trying to get the gig, and there was a double bass drum set up. And I went into the audition, and I said, hey man, I'm going to move this other kick drum. I don't play double bass. So I picked up the other bass drum, and I moved it. Well, lo and behold, Greg Bissonette, great double bass drum player, came in there and got the gig. You know, I didn't have that thing they wanted, you know, that kind of Alex Van Halen double bass chops. So I went home and I built this huge double bass drum kit and sat there and went, you know, like, you know, to make sure that I had the repertoire covered. So if that ever happened to me again, and I went on an audition, that I had the chops to be able to at least pull off some double bass work. And then fast forward to auditioning for the cult, they're like, why the other bass drum? You know, get rid of that other bass drum. We don't want that.
Of course.
Get rid of all that crap. So that's when I went more back to my original meat and potatoes Bonham setup. But then, now fast forward to Kings of Chaos, I'm like,
It's back.
Let's do it. It's cool. And it looks great up there. You know, you look up at the stage, you see the big kid. It's fun.